Hello everyone, today's game is between Vishy Anand, rated 2791 at the time, and with the white pieces, and with the black pieces, Boris Gelfand, rated 2727 at the time. This is the 8th game of their World Championship match, and we are going to visit an oldie but goodie. And this game, I believe, possibly prevented Boris Gelfand from winning the World Championship. After winning Game 7, I believe as it were, in the 12 game match format, um, Boris Gelfand came into this game, uh, the black pieces, and basically in such a short match game situation, you can just pretty much hold and stall out your opponent. But here, um, a strange thing happened in this game that we uh, rarely see at this level, especially in the World Championship match, and I'm going to show you today. So after d4, knight f6, c4, g6, we have this f3, and this can lead to transitions into the Grunfeld, King's Indian defense, Zamish variation, depending on what the opponent plays. Also, variations of the Queen's Gambit decline are possible. Of course, g6, you know, um, wouldn't be played. So, for instance, you could play like e6 and then say f3, and kind of transpose after knight c3, f3, and e4. So c5 is played. Okay, now this had been played already. This f3 by Anand, and in game 3 of the match, d5 was played. All right, and later on, Gelfand did get into some trouble, so he probably switched up. He didn't want to follow, the same path again, and then perhaps run into a preparation by, from Anand. So he switches to c5 here. Okay, and this kind of dictates what structure is going to be on board, because now after c5, it kind of forces the Benoni. Okay, so d5 is played, d6, e4. So now at least Gelfand knows what he's getting into here. Bishop g7, and now knight e2. Now normal is knight c3, castle, and then like say bishop g5, and you have this like hybrid between the Benoni and this Zamish setup with f3. Also bishop e3 is possible here, and many games have been played in that line. Then you have this battle of black trying to tear down the black center. Excuse me, black trying to tear down the white center. And you get this kind of mixture of play with the Benoni and Samish positions, kind of go like that. Very double-edged positions, as you see. White trying to stabilize in the center and hopefully get his push in with f4, e5, etc. And then you see black pushing heavily on the queen side. But here, Anand had a different plan in mind. He plays knight e2, castle, and now he plays the same knight again, right? Knight e to c3. Okay, so why does he do that? Okay, so what he's gonna do is take this knight that's on b1, and he wants to find another square for it. Okay, so maybe like a3. Also possible is to go to d2 after this bishop comes out to e3 or g5. Okay, and again, this is the type of maneuver you can do in these block positions. Okay, because time is not as critical since the position is all like tied up. You can take a few moves to move this same piece around. Gelfand plays knight h5. Okay, and now bishop g5 from Anand. Now here, usually instead of knight h5, is e6 with this idea again attacking the white's center. and then play will follow, for instance, like bishop e3, knight e6, bishop e2, knight c7, preparing moves like b5, for example. There's a4 to stop that, knight f8, knight fe8, sorry. And now this prepares f5 because again, white center must be broken down at some point and compromised. So black cannot hesitate on this. Queen d2 castles, knight f6. And you see e5. And you see the battle has been enjoined here. Again, this is a double edge position right here. So instead of countering in the center with this move e6, Gelfand played knight h5, and now bishop g5. Okay, bishop f6, and bishop takes f6. So this move kind of is double-edged in a way because if you look at it, you see the majority of white's pawns are on light squares. So therefore, this bishop is white's good bishop, so to speak. All right. Um, but then at the same time, trading off the bishop does weaken the squares around the black king. So it's kind of like a double-edged move. All right. So in a big strategical sense, yeah, this is good because now, with the removal of this light squared bishop, white does have a lot of weaknesses around the dark squares. You can see it clearly. However, black now is missing some protection around his king. So it's like a mixed bag there. Another idea is just h6, allowing white to retain his bishop, but just driving it away. And you have say f5 for example, e takes, g takes, queen d2, and then say f4, bishop f2, and then knight d7, which is perfectly reasonable also. So black keeps his bishop and white keeps his bishop. Gelfand played bishop f6, bishops were exchanged, and now e takes f6. So with this pawn grab, it gives a little protection around the king as there's another pawn on the dark square now. All right. Um, I think knight f6 is just as respectable. And let's say queen d2 and then e5. Again, now that the dark square bishop is gone, now you can put all your pawns on dark squares. All right, at least to try to mitigate some of that weakness. So knight f6 is okay, but he chose e takes f6 there, and now queen d2. And this is a typical maneuver when you trade off your bishops on a certain color complex. The queen often takes the place of that bishop. Since the queen has the combined powers of a rook and bishop, the queen now takes over the dark squares. f5 from Gelfand, e takes, and now bishop takes f5. Now g4 by Anand. Okay, now the position again becomes very sharp. Gelfand plays the move rook e8. It's a natural move, right? Developing the piece, bring the rook to the open file. Does it do a lot? I don't think so. Because the king is going to have to move anyway, so he just goes to protect his place. Of course, also important is queen h4 to think about. Same thing, king d1, and maybe bishop takes b1, and that transposes to here. So queen f2 is possible, and of course, then if this piece is captured, then queen c1, knight d1, and knight f4, and now this bishop is in trouble. So rook e8. It's hard to blame Gelfand for that move. So maybe queen h4 is a little better, but rook e8 seems all right. King d1. Bishop takes b1. Rook takes b1. And now queen f6. And what can be more natural than queen f6? Nan grabs the piece. Queen takes f3 check. King c2. And now queen takes h1. And then queen f2 was played. Okay. And Gelfand simply had to resign as there's no place for his queen to go after the bishop moves. So his queen is trapped. So after coming off a win in game 7, uh, Gelfand blundered tremendously, and basically once the match was tied, uh, I don't think I think psychologically he was pretty much done for after losing a game in such an ignominious fashion like this. So I think this is one of the shortest decisive games in World Championship history. Um, Instead of Queen f6, perhaps Knight f6 was suggested here. It's just retreating. Then Anand would have to play a move like King c2 to get, develop the rest of his pieces. So with the bishop coming to d3, h4, h5, etc. All right, and now you have this double edge situation here. So that's probably the best that black can muster up here. Although white is a little bit better. After queen f6, it's pretty much over after this continuation that he goes into. And so anyway, that was the game for today. I hope you enjoyed that. Please like, subscribe, check the links below, and please donate to my channel. And also, down below are DVDs/books related to the opening that we see on board today. So what are we gonna call this? King's Indian, Grunfeld. It wound up being a kind of like a Benoni. So I guess we're gonna go with the Benoni. We're gonna post links for Benoni slash King's Indian down below. So enjoy those, and look forward to your comments, and I'll see you guys on the next video.